Hello and welcome to Let's Play Rebel Planet by Robin Waterfield. This is book number 18 in the Fighting Fantasy series. Okay, here's the front cover. Very nice. Okay, let's read the synopsis. Part story, part game. This is a book in which you become the hero. As the might of the alien Arcadian Empire tightens its hold on our galaxy, the leaders of the secret Earth organization, Saros, gather their slender resources into one last daring and foolhardy mission to strike at the heart of the invaders' home planet. You are their last hope. Trained in all the martial arts, equipped with a forbidden laser sword, your mission is to seek out the underground resistance and piece together the vital code you need to destroy the enemy. But time is running out, and only you stand in the way of the Arcadians' complete domination of the galaxy. 2 dice, a pencil, and an eraser are all you need for this perilous journey. You decide which routes to take, which dangers to risk, and which enemies to fight. Fighting Fantasy Game Books, a worldwide sensation. Cover illustration by Alan Craddock. Okay. Puffin Books, Rebel Planet. As the mighty alien Arcadian Empire tightens its hold on the galaxy, the leaders of the secret Earth organization, Saros, gather their slender resources into one last daring and foolhardy mission to strike at the heart of the invaders' home planet. Fully trained in all the martial arts, equipped with a forbidden laser sword, one of the few remaining on Earth, you are their last hope. Your mission is to seek out the scattered remnants of the underground resistance on the other occupied planets using your cover as a traveling merchant, and piece together the vital code you need. Only when you have this information will you be able to strike at the central Arcadian complex which Saros believes will break the strange powers of the Arcadians and so loosen their domination of the free worlds. 2 dice, a pencil, and an eraser are all you need to embark on this thrilling, futuristic adventure, complete with its elaborate combat system and a score sheet with which to record your gains and losses. Many dangers lie ahead, and your success is by no means certain. Powerful adversaries are ranged against you, and often your only choice is to kill or be killed. Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone present Rebel Planet by Robin Waterfield, illustrated by Gary Mays for Julian for Fun, first published in 1985. Okay, let's read the history. It is the year 2453. Human colonization of far-flung planets of the galaxy began in 2070 with the first expedition to Tropos, only 6.8 light years away from Earth. Tropos gradually became a center in its own right, relieving the pressures caused on Earth by too many people. A home from home, claimed the glossy brochures designed to attract further colonists, but more terrestrial than terrestrials was nearer the mark, as the fashions and habits of the late 21st century became fossilized and fell behind changes on Earth. Canny travel agents used to advertise visits to Tropos as journeys back in time. With the discovery of Zeridium on Tropos and the invention of the Alpha Zeridium system, which enables spaceships to keep accelerating rather than simply traveling at the same speed, more distant planets became neighbors. The next planet found to be suitable for humans was Radix. One of the unexpected factors in inhabiting another planet is that any new species must adapt to suit that planet. Radix is a very fertile planet, and the human colonists there soon found that so-called human nature is mainly a product of the planet Earth. Life on Radix was so easy and luxurious that the colonists quickly settled into a way of living that, by Earth standards, was lazy and corrupt. There are very few planets in the galaxy that humans can inhabit. Even those which have the right atmosphere may be too hot or too cold, or have too much or too little gravity. Eventually, Halmuris was discovered, but not before several expeditions had been lost in the abyss of space. The conditions on Halmuris are bleak and bitter. It became mainly a home for scientists and explorers who were waiting to find and be sent to the next planet. Before long, they had found it. The first unmanned flights brought back pictures The first unmanned flights brought back pictures of a planet obscured by cloud, whose atmosphere, as revealed by spectroanalysis, was a breathable but lighter version of Earth's. In their joy at the thought of getting off Halmuris, though some would remain as a sort of base camp, they gave the new planet the peaceful name of Arcadian. But what did the clouds hide? Arcadian consists of 3 land masses separated by huge expanses of water. Because of the separation of the continents, a different species developed on each landmass. By 2285, when human spaceships split the clouds and came down to the surface of Arcadian, the 3 species had been united for a long time. The inventive and intelligent occupants of the vast horseshoe-shaped continent, which circles half the globe from east to west, had conquered the warlike northern species and the more artistic southerners. The alliance, as it was called, had lasted for centuries. Their technology, however, was more primitive than Earth's, and space travel was restricted. They wanted to conquer space just as much as human beings, for they wanted an empire. So when the few human spaceships landed, the Arcadians soon saw the advantages of Alpha Zeridium. The war took only 12 years, and for most of that time the Arcadians were building Alpha Zeridium fleets rather than actually fighting. First, the outpost on Halmuris was taken by surprise and overrun Radix. Oh, sorry again. First, the outpost on Halmuris was taken by surprise and overrun Radix. That doesn't make any sense. To its eternal shame. Oh, overrun is an adjective, sorry. I'll start again. First, the outpost on Halmuris was taken by surprise, and overrun Radix, to its eternal shame, gave in without a struggle. The invaders met with stiff resistance from the Tropians, who were eager to keep their traditional way of life, but the Tropians too were overwhelmed by the greater numbers and fighting skills of the Arcadians. Earth itself, with its bases on Mercury, Venus, and the Moon, fell soon afterwards, and the worst fears of the prophets of doom, backed by the terrestrial ecology party, who never wanted to leave Earth in the first place, came true. Human beings became ruled by a galactic empire. The Arcadians were badly equipped to control an empire at first, but Arcadians are very adaptable. They built a massive organic computer on Arcadian. Binary is natural for the 2-fingered Arcadians. And implanted into the brain of every Arcadian a receiver linked to the central organic complex by empathy, which had long been recognized to be the quickest form of communication. The Arcadians became like a hive or an ant colony. Each individual is a cell of a sprawling single entity, an entity which can control an empire with merciless efficiency. It's a bit like the Borg from Star Trek, isn't it? Arcadian, a peaceful name, but for 150 years it has been another world. I'll start again. Arcadian, a peaceful name, but for 150 years it has been another word for tyranny. The only human word still spitefully allowed is the name of the planet. Esperanto was the common tongue of human beings, but now its use means instant death. Good, I hate Esperanto, stupid made-up language. Humans are slaves and are only kept alive to serve the aliens, and humans do not live for very long these days. The only Arcadian regret is that the human body cannot be implanted with the empathic receiver, as they discovered after the vivisection and death of hundreds of test cases. The Arcadians chose to submit their will to the central computer, but human will cannot be wiped out without death. The aliens can keep their power only through cruelty. But it has not gone unnoticed on Earth that the weakness as well as the strength of the Arcadians is that they rely on the computer. They no longer have any will of their own, so they would become zombies if the computer were destroyed. The weakness of a hive is the supreme importance of the queen ant or bee. The weakness of the empire is the computer queen of Arcadian, and this is where you come in. Mission background. In times past, the planning and funding of human colonization of other planets was undertaken by Saros, an international organization promoting search and research of space. Under the Arcadian Empire, Saros has had to change, although it seems to be just an astronomical institute. In fact, it has been doing all it can to overthrow the empire. It quickly became clear that a full-scale military attack was out of the question, and that the only hope lay in a solo mission to destroy the central computer. Preparing for this mission has been a long and patient task, hindered by the fact that radio transmitters are still not allowed, and contact with the underground on other planets was difficult. But two factors make the time right now, or as right as it probably ever will be. First, you are the perfect choice for the mission. You are resourceful, courageous, and dedicated to liberation. You have been trained for many months in martial arts, and you have acquired a knowledge of those branches of science that could be at all useful. Finally, your cover is excellent. You will travel as a merchant. For the second factor is that humans are now allowed to travel in space again, though only as merchants to serve the Arcadians. You will be taking wheat from Earth to Tropos, as iridium from Tropos to the authorities on Radix, luxury goods from Radix to Halmuris, and you have been instructed to take an important Arcadian from Halmuris to Arcadian. The other significant aspect of the lifting of the ban on space travel is that Saros has been able to send spies to gather the information you need for your mission. The picture that emerged is still incomplete because vital details were lost through traitors, some humans trying to please their masters in the hope of some crumbs of comfort or of living for a few extra months. This treachery has its good and its bad side. The good side is that now you know you will not automatically be able to trust every human you meet, because some may be helping the Arcadians. The bad side is that your mission must go ahead now, although the information is incomplete, before the Arcadians get wind of it. Whatever. But the knowledge that did get through is crucial. The building that houses the Queen computer on Arcadian can be entered by using a numerical code of 9 binary digits, and the underground leaders on each planet may know something to help you discover what the number is. The missing details are who the underground leaders are. You only know code names at best, and of course what the digits are. That is why your cover has been arranged to allow you to stop on each planet. You must locate the rebel leaders and learn the digits. Then you must destroy the computer. Okay, here we go. More. Contact with aliens. The 3 Arcadian species that you will come across in this adventure are each different to look at. More important, they have different ways of behaving and thinking, some of which humans find difficult to understand, even after years of contact. Here is a brief description of each species, taken from the Saros manual. All 3 species are roughly humanoid in appearance. They have 2 arms and 2 legs, because evolution beyond a certain limited stage requires manual dexterity, which in turn needs an upright posture. All the species have 2 fingers on each hand, and 2 toes on each foot. Northern Arcadians are about 3 meters tall at the most. I'll use metric because it's not sort of medieval or whatever, is it? Are about 3 meters tall at the most. They are spindly with more joints in their arms and legs than humans. Their heads are squat and squarish, but their most distinctive physical feature is a thick, muscular tail, tipped with a vicious spike, which is an extremely useful weapon in battle, and is also used for balance. Northern Arcadians are matter-of-fact military types, who like nothing so much as a good massacre. They are not very intelligent, which is why they are the easiest Arcadians to understand. Southern Arcadians are like a roly-poly version of the Northerners, but do not let that fool you. They can fight if they want to. Their chief physical differences from the Northerners are that they have no tail. They are shorter and squatter, and they have 2 antennae. The purpose of these antennae is not clear, but the most likely explanation is that they pick up feelings. They use these antennae in a variety of ways, many of which are too subtle for a human to understand, so it is easy to offend them. They tend to be sensitive anyway. They prefer to talk in a very poetic way, which can be confusing at times, though they seem to understand one another perfectly. However, they have learned to talk down to insensitive humans. Central Arcadians are the most powerful species and are the most human to look at. They are usually under 2 meters tall and have the same number of joints in their arms and legs as humans. Apart from their small tail, the most obvious difference between Central Arcadians and humans is their elongated head, which tends to jut out at right angles from their shoulders. The head has a pulpy crest of tissue. Physically, they are by far the weakest of the three species, but they make up for this by their skill. In battle, for instance, they are often able to win by distracting their opponents. Their thoughts tend to be very abstract, and they quite often behave in a way that means something to them, but is difficult for anyone else to understand. It is as if they did not care whether others can follow such trains of thought. This is just one example of how arrogant they are. Abilities, here we go. Your mission involves travelling through the depths of outer space. You must first determine your strengths and weaknesses. For this, you will need 2 dice and a pencil to record your scores on your adventure sheet, pages 28 to 9. As it is possible that you will not successfully complete your mission on your first attempt, you should write lightly so you can rub out your notes, or you could take photocopies of the adventure sheet for future use. Skill, stamina, and luck. Roll 1 die. Add 6 to this number and enter the total in the skill box of the adventure sheet. Your skill score reflects your general fighting ability. The higher the score, the better. Okay, so roll 1 die and add 6. Okay, we get 11. So our skill is 11. Okay, next. Roll 2 dice, add 12 to the number rolled and enter the total in the stamina box. Your stamina score reflects your will to survive, your determination, and your overall fitness. The higher your stamina score, the longer you will be able to survive. Okay, 2 dice and then then add 12 to it. Is that right? Yeah. Yes, come on. No, 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 no. I can't wait all day. There we go, 10. Yes. What luck, I got 10. Okay, so add 12 to that, that gives 22. So stamina is 22. There is also a luck box. Roll 1 die, add 6, and enter the total in the luck box. Your luck score indicates how naturally lucky a person you are. No. Yes. Okay, so we get 12 luck, because we're very lucky, obviously. Judging by those dice rolls. Alright, so 12. For reasons that will be explained below, skill, stamina, and luck scores keep changing during an adventure. You must keep an accurate record of these scores, so write small in the boxes or have an eraser handy, but never rub out your initial scores. Although you may be awarded additional skill, stamina, and luck points, these totals may never exceed your initial scores. Restoring skill. Your skill score will not change much during an adventure. Occasionally, a page may give instructions to increase or decrease your skill score. Restoring stamina. Your stamina score will change a lot during your adventure. As you fight aliens and undertake arduous tasks. As you near your goal, your stamina level may be dangerously low. In which case battles will be particularly risky, so be careful. The most usual ways of restoring stamina are almost what I said, flood there. I don't have my glasses on. The most usual ways of restoring stamina are rest and food, which you will have to buy. You will have opportunities for resting and eating during the adventure. Healing of wounds will also be provided for during the adventure, though more rarely. This also restores stamina, of course. Restoring luck. Additions to and subtractions from your luck score are awarded in the adventure according to circumstances. Your luck score will also change quite a bit as you test your luck. See page 25. Combat. This adventure involves no combat encounters in space. Under the Empire, humans are not permitted weapons of any kind, and since you are travelling as a merchant anyway, your ship is unarmed. I said the crowd is unarmed. See if you can remember where that quote comes from. I said the crowd is unarmed. Anyway, that's that. Your journeys between planets will be uneventful as regards external danger, apart from the odd shower of meteors, but the ship's force field will easily repel those. Force fields are effective for spaceships because they work by resistance to speed. Any missile powerful enough to penetrate the hull of a spaceship can be stopped by the ship's field. Force fields cannot help individual beings. A missile slow enough to penetrate a force field may still be powerful enough to injure a human being or an Arcadian. Besides, the equipment needed to produce an effective force field is pretty bulky even in this age of advanced miniaturization. There are other problems too, such as the many obstacles which clutter our environment and interfere with the field, and the shock waves caused by a field resisting a blast, which can be nearly as harmful as the blast itself for soft-skinned creatures. Blimey, that's almost like a poem. So there are no personal force fields in the 25th century, but there are plenty of lethal weapons which have existed for centuries: guns, lasers, phasers, photon grenades, gravity bombs, and so on. Many of these weapons are so lethal that they presented a problem to the Arcadian authorities, who constantly fear and expect rebellion. The problem was that, although humans are not permitted weapons of any sort, if their Arcadian masters carried them, the humans could occasionally overpower Arcadians, seize their weapons, and build up a powerful armory. The solution was obvious. Once the Empire was reasonably stable, all lethal weapons were brought back and stored on Arcadian, and all Arcadians were given less powerful weapons. Laser swords, electric whiplash swords. Okay, whippies for short. And so on. In this way, even if the occasional Arcadian did lose his weapon, it would be no serious loss. You have acquired a laser sword by devious means. It is quite easy to smuggle the laser sword through checkpoints so long as you are not too closely searched, since until it is activated the sword is no more than a hand-sized hollow metal shaft with a couple of buttons on it. The complex miniature electronic works are hidden around the inside of the shaft. So this is your weapon in this adventure. It and your skill should be enough to face most of your opponents, since they will be similarly armed. If you are fortunate and make the right decisions, you may acquire some more lethal weapons along the way. On the other hand, you may meet an opponent whose weapon is much better than yours. Unless otherwise stated in the book, combat will be fought as follows. Record your opponent's skill and stamina scores in the first empty encounter box on the adventure sheet. The scores for each opponent are given in the book at the time. Then the sequence of combat is thus. 1. Roll 2 dice once for the creature. Add its skill score. This total is its attack strength. 2. Determine your own attack strength in the same way by adding the roll to your skill score. Yeah, it doesn't say specifically they have to roll the dice again. It just says adding the roll. I mean, that roll could have been the previous one, but that would be stupid. Anyway, particularly if we have the same skill. So obviously it must be. We must have to roll the dice again. If your attack strength is higher than that of your opponent, you have wounded it. Proceed. 3. Sorry. If your attack strength is higher than that of your opponent, you have wounded it. Proceed to step 4. If its attack strength is higher than yours, it has wounded you. Proceed to step 5. If both attack strengths are the same, you have avoided each other's blows. Start the next attack round from step 1 again. 4. You have wounded the alien, so subtract 2 points from its stamina score. You may use your luck here to do additional damage. See page 26. 5. Your opponent has wounded you, so subtract 2 points from your own stamina score. You may use luck at this stage to lessen the damage. See page 26. Make the appropriate adjustments to your opponent's or your own stamina scores and your luck score if you use luck. 7. Begin the next attack round. Repeat steps 1 to 6. This sequence continues until the stamina score of either you or your opponent has been reduced to 0, which is death. There is no escape option in this adventure. Unarmed combat. Since humans are... I'll just put down I have a laser sword or whatever. Right. Equipment. Laser sword. I don't need blood points, do I? That was from... or faith. That was from Revenge of the Vampire or whatever. There we go. Whoops, just need to put that in a bit. There we go. Oakley dokley. Right. Since humans are invariably weaponless, unarmed combat has been revived and has been developed to a high degree of expertise. You know all the pressure points and weak spots of the 3 Arcadian species, as well as those of the humans, and you know just how to use your own body to the greatest effect, while using your opponent's own weight and strength against himself. Or herself. If you ever lose your laser sword, or if the book instructs you will be involved in unarmed combat in this adventure as well. The conduct of unarmed combat is the same as for armed combat, except for the following sudden death rule. Whenever your attack strength is higher than your opponent's, roll 1 extra die. If you roll 1 to 5, you reduce your opponent's stamina as usual, but if you roll 6, your opponent has been unable to prevent you from finding a pressure point which will either kill him or her, or leave him or her unconscious. In either case, the fight is immediately over. Note that this rule normally applies only to you. The Arcadians are not so skilled in unarmed combat, not having had the need to become so. If you meet an opponent who is as skilled in unarmed combat as you, and to whom, therefore, the same rule applies, the book will tell you. Fighting more than one opponent. If you are faced with more than one opponent in a particular encounter, the instructions on that page will tell you how to conduct the battle. Sometimes you will treat them as a single opponent, sometimes you will have to fight each one in turn. At various times during your adventure, either in battles or in situations where you could be lucky or unlucky, details of these are given on the pages themselves, you may call on your luck to make the outcome more favourable. But beware, using luck is a risky business, and if you are unlucky, the results could be disastrous. The procedure for using your luck is as follows. Roll 2 dice. If the number rolled is equal to or less than your current luck score, you have been lucky, and the result will go in your favour. If the number rolled is higher than your current luck score, you have been unlucky and will have to pay the penalty. This procedure is known as testing your luck. Each time you test your luck, you must subtract 1 point from your current luck score. You will soon realise that the more you rely on your luck, the more risky it will become. If you ever run out of luck any time the book tells you to test your luck, you are automatically unlucky. Using luck in battles. In battles, the book will not give you the option of testing your luck, as it does on other occasions, but the option is there in any battle. The effect of luck in battles is as follows. Suppose in an attack round you have just wounded your opponent. You may now test your luck. If you are lucky, you have inflicted a more serious injury than normal, and may subtract an extra 2 points from your opponent's stamina. However, if you are unlucky, the injury turns out to be a mere graze, and instead of the normal 2 points of stamina to be subtracted from your opponent, you may subtract only 1. But suppose your opponent has just wounded you. Again, you may test your luck. If you are lucky, you have managed to avoid the full force of the blow, and need only subtract 1 point from your stamina, instead of the normal 2. If you are unlucky, you have taken a more serious wound, and must reduce your stamina by an extra 1 point. Equipment and money. You will be an undercover agent, so you can carry hardly anything with you. Equipment would arouse suspicion. Apart from your money and your weapon, you will have to acquire everything else you may need to complete your mission during your trip, including other weapons. You have an anti-grav pack in which you can keep up to 6 of the items you will come across in this adventure without loss of stamina. Okay, so I'll just put that in. Anti-grav pack, parenthesis, we can carry 6 items without loss of stamina. Does that include the sword or what? Up to 6. Doesn't really say. Does it include itself? I don't know. Doesn't say. You have an anti-grav pack in which you can keep up to 6 of the items you will come across in this adventure. You will come across, okay, so not including the weapon. However, you may be advised before leaving a planet to get rid of anything you think you may not be able to smuggle on to the next planet. Saros has given you 2,000 credits. So I'll just call this I will just call it credits. There we go. So 2,000. In the future, all money is called credits. It can't be called gold anymore. It must be credits. Like in Gran Turismo, the money in that game is called credits as well. And in Total Recall. Anyway, the good Total Recall, not the awful later one. Ugh. Anyway, Saros has given you 2,000 credits with which to start your adventure. Used wisely, this should be enough to pay for extra equipment, board and lodging during your mission, and Okay, during a mission. Right, you may be able to acquire. They haven't put an and there. You know what they mean is this should be enough to pay for extra equipment and board and lodging during a mission. They've missed out the and. It sounds awkward. You may be able to acquire more during your adventure. What you have and what you spend should be entered in the appropriate box on the adventure sheet. This money is kept in a money belt around your waist. If you run out of money and meet a situation where you need to spend money to continue, you have failed in your mission. It's all about the money, boys. Oh, look, they haven't written in the adventure sheet. That's good. Okay. Here we go. On to paragraph 1. It doesn't say now turn over, it just says paragraph 1. Whatever, let's do this. So half an hour, finally make a start. Yes, I'll put a thing in the I've put a link in the video description so you can skip the first half hour, whatever. Anyway, here's paragraph 1. Okay, here's the picture first of all. There we go, lovely. You settle comfortably into the padded pilot seat of your spaceship. Strap yourself in and examine the instrument panel. This is remarkably simple, consisting mainly of a computer terminal and several screens. The mechanisms of the Alpha Ziridium system are hidden deep within the bowels of the craft, and there is no need for you to have anything to do with them. Even if something did go wrong, your robot engineers would soon sort it out. The ship's computer has been pre-programmed to take you to Tropos and land there. Now you ask the computer to check all life support systems throughout the ship. Within seconds, its tinny voice responds. Everything is functioning correctly. You contact base control to tell them you are ready. The ship's main support towers are towed away by massive robo-trucks. You flick the switch which activates the drive apparatus and you're off. Within minutes, the ill effects of the first thrust required for takeoff die down as you leave Earth's exosphere and enter the inky blackness of space. The gravi drags are automatically triggered so that gravity within the ship is kept the same as on Earth, allowing you and your robots to move about freely. Actually, it would be more free if there weren't any gravity, wouldn't it? Because then you're not restricted to, the floor. So, yeah. Anyway, you switch on the rear view screen to watch Earth getting smaller behind you. White cloud formations swirl and the sun glints off the northern ice cap. Though you have often seen this sight before on trips to Mercury and Venus, it never fails to excite you, and this time you feel homesick as well. Will you ever see Earth again? Your mission is so vital and so dangerous. Time passes. After a few hours, one of the screens flickers into life. The computer is alerting you to the presence of another spacecraft, which is keeping a constant distance away from you and seems to be shadowing you. Will you order the computer to take evasive action, 10 to 48, or continue on your way, 10 to 398? We are going to continue on our way. So we're going to turn to 398. Off we go. Quite right, your escort must be an Arcadian, and you do not want to draw attention to yourself. You pass the journey pleasantly enough in eating, sleeping, exercising, and playing chess with the computer. When you land on Tropos, you find that you are due to take off again tomorrow for Radix. The Arcadian guards at customs search your anti-grav pack but find no more than your clothes because they don't search your body. They rely on the metal detectors to do their job, but your laser sword has been treated with a chemical which prevents it activating the detectors, and your money belt contains no metal. Once you have registered, as all non-tropian humans must on arrival, you leave the spaceport. Turn to 299. Once you are out of the spaceport, you have no problems finding a hover taxi. You climb in and instruct the microcomputer to take you south into town. You notice that a camera has been fixed in the taxi. There has been no attempt to disguise it. Presumably it transmits everything it sees to the Arcadian police headquarters, and presumably there is a listening device as well. It is a good thing that they cannot read minds because your thoughts are racing. You know 3 things about the underground leader on Tropos. The code name Bellatrix, that he or she can be located through a club called the Fission Chips. Very clever. I like that. I do like that. which is in the city you are heading for, and that Bellatrix rules the rebels strictly, with a code of honour that all must obey. That's quite a lot to be going on. It's more than you know about the rebels on other planets, and that's quite a lot to be going on. I mean, it's more than you should. It's more than you know about the rebels on other planets, and should make your task on Tropos relatively easy, if you act sensibly. The other thing occupying your mind is that most of the Arcadians on Tropos seem to be members of the warlike northern species. The presence of so many of these natural fighters could make your mission on Tropos more hazardous. Why have so many of them been posted here? Are they closing in on the rebels? Do the Arcadians know that the fission chips is more than it seems? There are many unanswered questions, but you turn your mind to the task at hand. There are still 6 hours to go before curfew. Will you instruct the taxi to take you straight to the fission chips, turn to 176, or to the hostel at which off-planet humans have to stay, turn to 196? Okay, we will decide what to do in the next video because I've done enough. Anyway, so we are on we're on paragraph 299. So let's put that in our thing. Next paragraph, 299. And we will decide whether we're going to go to the hostel or to the fission chips. I could do with some fission chips right now, actually. Yeah, the hostel or fission chips at the start of the next video. So thanks for watching. I told you I'd finally get round to doing Rebel Planet. I know some of you didn't believe me. O ye of little faith, I told you I'd do this, and I have delivered. So I'm doing Rebel Planet, like I said I would, about 1,000,000 times. Yeah, I'm hoping to do at some point Miracle Warriors on the Mars system. That's one of the few. I think that's one of only two, maybe the only one. Oh, I think Dragon Crystal is another one. Yeah, one of only two. RPGs left on the Master System I need to do, but Miracle Warriors is I'm not really getting into it. I'm playing it at the moment. I'm not really getting into it very easily. I need some more time on that. Anyway, in the next video, I will decide whether I'm going to the hostel or the fission chips. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.